In this video, we are going to break you down to scratch. Hey there, briefly before we begin, something that I've already finished the video, but something that I forgot to place in the video was regarding Kimberly in the intro there. She'll have been in the intro. I feel as though we earned the right to make use of her. I think like we kind of won Kimberly in that title bout. That's going to be an acceptable trophy in my mind. So we're going to go ahead and take Kimberly. She belongs to us now. Thank you, Demi. Okay, so hola, one and all. Welcome back to Soul Mechanics. There's a few things that I should like to note before we begin this video. This video, by the way, is going to be very likely one of the most important videos that we do in this course, if not on the entire channel, especially as regards to anybody who decides to directly engage the course on the Kundalini activation, the impulse cultivation training, or generally speaking for anybody, you know, insofar as regards personal evolution, anybody walking the wayless road, as we like to call it, especially spotters out there, and most especially our two premier students, Bonnie and the other guy who are engaging the course directly. This is going to be a very, very important video. It's going to be one of what might be a short series, at the very least 2 videos, but we'll get to that later. So please do watch this video through, take everything into consideration, make use of it to the best of your abilities. Now, the things I should like to note before we go forward, this video is influenced, if not wholly inspired, by our little scuffle in the previous video with Demi in the Anti-Ordinary channel in the High Noon series. And should Demi and or any of her fans be tuning in, which I'm going to go ahead and heavily bet is very likely the case, I would like to note, A, that I'm going to follow up this video. The next couple of videos that I'm going to make are going to be regarding atheism, especially as concerns evolution, or vice versa. I haven't really decided yet, but one or the other, evolution as regards atheism. In either case, it's going to be, I'm making videos for you guys, okay? The people that are in our immediate community, spotters, as it were, they don't really need what we're providing here. It's you guys that we're making this for. And I mean, whether you like it or not, please do check in and try to make use of what we offer. It can be very beneficial for you, I promise. But, you know, I mean, atheists that, you guys are actually kind of ahead of other people along this path, but you are on this path. You're in the same boat as us, and you're walking the same road. We're all walking the same road. The thing is just that, though you're a little ahead of other people in many ways, you're just caught in this particularly damaging trap with atheism. These are the people, atheists as it stands, the New Age atheism activist movement. These are the people who just really kind of got way too snared up with religion. You guys are still snared up in religion. You have not escaped. It's very much like a matrixy sort of scenario where you think you're out, but trust me, you're not. And I'm going to show you precisely why and how to actually get out if you do pay attention and with an open mind, a skeptical view, and give this a shot. I'm going to help you guys out. So, B, actually I believe that was it, the atheists are, you guys, the atheist activists, you guys have the heart, you have the mind for it, you guys could be the very heaviest assets as regards the initiative. And for those who are just tuning in who don't know, the initiative, the Status Initiative, is our faction of a worldwide initiative. The Status Initiative faction is dedicated to finding the other factions and uniting them, but essentially it's a worldwide initiative of people who are simply working, fighting together to change things for the better, to snap people out of these traps, to eliminate the cultist influences that are impeding all of us in our personal development and allow for humanity as a species to grow and to evolve. And yes, evolution is in play. It's just that you guys are missing roughly 2/3 of the package. And even in the 1/3 that you think you get, you're missing a lot of pieces, but we're going to give them to you. That's what we're here to do. And as regards this personal development setup, I'm just the vanguard. I'm the director in the sense that you guys can present whatever you want, wherever you want to go, and I will course correct the initiative as a whole to make that happen. I will direct the network and make alterations based on what you guys request of me. And as regards feedback, I will direct you in the ways that I think are most beneficial. You don't have to follow my directions, but in most cases you do whether you want to or not. So I mean, and it always works out for the best. So I mean, I'm simply here in this sense. I'm not considering myself to be like above and beyond you guys in any way. I'm a little further ahead. A lot of you guys are way behind, but I'm a little further ahead because I place myself in a position where I'm moving ahead of you guys as the vanguard in an effort to light the way for you and to provide you insight that will get you moving faster, further, faster, the greater degree of sharpness and efficiency. And, you know, it's largely because there are, in fact, along this route, there are very, very dangerous hazards in play that you're going to come across. And essentially, I've placed myself in the position of serving the role of the canary in the coal mine. I'm the person who's going to step ahead into those traps so that you don't have to. Make sure that you can get around them so that we can all get moving faster. That's all I'm doing. I'm not considering myself to be in some way beyond you guys. I'm the guy who's moving a little faster so that I can get you guys, you know, dig you out a road, dig you out a clear path. So, also, I wanted to note that I'm very appreciative of Demi, should she be watching. I'm very, very appreciative that you did that video again. As I stated, I mean, I did not intend for you to make such an ass of yourself there. I didn't want that to happen. I'm sorry that it did. I was really hoping that you would actually present some sort of evidences or something regarding the reasons why you feel the way you do, or, you know, anything to that effect. It's a sad state of affairs where I have to show you why you're feeling the way you do and how it's very unsound, and I'm sorry about that, but I mean, we need to be moving faster, we need to be moving together, all of us. And you know, that's the only thing that I did not intend for you to do was look stupid to any degree, but I mean, I very hugely appreciate that you made the video anyway. It provided us such an excellent opportunity, and I'm really happy with the video we made. That's one of my favorite, it's got to be my favorite video so far that we've made on soul mechanics for sure. So, and of course I'd like to continue, you know, this arrangement, this relationship. I'd like for it to develop, hopefully in a positive manner. I would hate for us to continue feuding with each other as it seems to be the case in your mind, but again, we are going to continue being beneficial to you in whatever way we can. Of course, as I stated, I'm going to respect your wishes and ignore you for the most part, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to be indirectly affecting you. And if you decide to engage us to any degree, as I stated also on your Discord, the role of rep for either community, trans or atheist, that's open to you. You could take both of them for the moment. You could, you know, find somebody else to help out. And you could jump onto any one of our channels or any one of our projects and speak your mind, voice your considerations, you know, as regards your position and these respective communities. You're welcome to do that. We would love to help you out with growing your channel and just all of that. So anyways, what we're doing with this video is sort of an exercise regarding persona and just general consideration of self, which this is something that I didn't find until later on, and I had already been damaged severely. I had gone through years of suffering, turmoil. I had gone through addictions and depressions and anxieties. I had gone through, you know, states of homelessness, states of helplessness. I had been through several major surgeries. I had died, I think, at this point on more than maybe 3 occasions I had gone under. So, you know, want to get this across early on now for you guys at the beginning. This will be the first thing you want to start working with before we even get into the chakras and opening up those engines in your psychology and in your nervous system, so that you can be prepped for that. And I think that this will probably open up the way, clear the way, so that you won't have to experience any of the hazards and damages that I did. But what you want to begin to begin this is go ahead and consider, ask yourself, what do I know about me? Like, what do you actually know about who you are, or even what you are by your own standards? Make a list. Actually write down a list of what you think you know about yourself as a person. Now, I know that it's something that you may never have thought of before, and you're not really sure how to grab at that. But to give examples, you want, when you make this list, you want to be considering what associations are in play as regards the values that you're exacting. Like, anything that's on your list that is not like immediately provable, anything that requires outside assistance, that's what you're going to be looking for, is those sorts of associations. For example, to set an example that's exceptionally vague and simple yet broad and reaching in scope, is I consider myself to be tall, right? But by what measure do I consider myself to be tall is going to be the associative factor. I consider myself to be tall, relatively speaking, to other people who are shorter than me. Well, again, I think therefore I am is really the only premise upon which you have any provable information at hand. So, I mean, really, you might want to disregard anything that even involves other people, because you can't prove that they're even real to yourself. You don't know that for sure, but we'll take it up a notch, outward a notch, and a lot for that consideration to be in play, and for establishments made by other people to be in play. So you could say that you're tall, but again, you could say that you're tall or short or what have you, fat, skinny, light-skinned, dark-skinned, whatever the considerations you might make regarding your physicality, your bodily functions, or what have you, that could be taken into consideration, relatively speaking, to other people, and we allow for other people to be in play. A secondary factor might be, personally, say I'm skilled in such things as psychology, or even in the psychiatric areas. How do you know that? How do you know that you are skilled in this area? Well, I've had a great degree of success affecting positive alterations upon people. I'm very good at reading people. I'm very good at spotting values. I am very good at assessing situations and diagnosing ailments, and I'm very good. I've been exceptionally successful in assisting people in getting through these obstacles, breaking through these barriers, healing their psychology. At the same time, I'm also exceptionally talented at manipulating people, it seems. I've had a great degree of success with getting people to perform in the ways that we need for them to, and in fact, it comes naturally to me. It's a skill that I have. I didn't even require much of the training that I did, in fact, have thereafter, and I didn't really practice this so much until recently, what I call spot casting, but it's something that I'm very good at doing. Although, how do I know that I'm good at doing that? Well, because I can see the effects in other people, but then I don't know for certain that these people are even thinking. I don't know if they're even there. So, it could very well be like a hallucination or a dream state wherein these other people are just reflections of my identity that don't really have any thoughts of their own for the most part. And ultimately, that's where you're going to be ground. That's the ground that you're going to be standing on by the end of this exercise, is that for the most part, it does seem as though you are in a dream state, that you really can't get out of that understanding once you reach it. And this is a more dedicated and more sort of intricate and impressive version of the initial scratch maneuver technique that we had presented very early on in the channel. We'll get to that towards the end of the video, but you can make assessments such as, like, there's going to be things in your list, for example, like I am kind, but these sorts of things you know, I am kind, or like I like certain things a certain way or what have you, but these are circumstantial, personally circumstantial determinations that, you know, I mean, they're sound, but they don't matter so much. They're things that, and the list will change. This list is not going to remain the same, especially once you start retracting things. Now, there's also, you know, considerations you can make, like basic considerations, like I am a physical being, I am a material physical being, but by what measure are you assessing this? Because when you are in a dream, it seems perfectly material to you, doesn't it? But then when you wake from it, you know that that wasn't actually a physical construct insofar as we know as standard measure. It is a physical construct, obviously, for anybody who's been keeping up, but insofar as concerns a common understanding, it's not. It's a psychological construct in your brain, but so, I mean, it's not to be considered physical or material, yet it's regarded as such when you're there, and it's representative of you and your circumstances and who you are. So, I mean, this is a consideration you could put on the list, but again, you have to put these associative factors into play. By what measure can you assess these things? Is it truly known to you? And as you're making the list, or once you've made the list, any articles on your list that require any stretching of the imagination, that is to say, any articles on your list that require for you to factor in considerations that have not been established, preferably in your own immediate experience, but generally established, you know, even in society for the most part, they'll need to be detracted from the list. So you remove anything that you cannot prove hard line, or have proven, you know, on your behalf by others, by the majority of others. And of course, at that point, you're going to have to assess what is actually established. So, I mean, when we think about things like, for example, that Pluto is a planet, but is it? Because people say it's not later on, but earlier on when we were kids, we were taught that Pluto was a planet that was absolutely known and established. You're going to want to go ahead and dig into these things, research the things that you need to find are, if they are established or not, and discern whether or not they actually are, because you're going to find, if you conduct this exercise thoroughly, that very few things that we think we know absolutely are in fact actually established to any measurable degree. Most of the things that people think they know, and this is where, you know, we get into play with the atheist most specifically, is a lot of the things that you guys think you know, a lot of the things that we all thought we knew or think we know, we don't actually know. We just take it for granted because it's been presented to us as something that's known, but if you actually research it, you're going to find that it's pretty much just guesswork. So, also, that's basically what you want to do, is try to contrive a list of things that define you as a being, that are, you know, perpetually or permanently establishable. And I want to note here that I'm going to try and work, this is something I forgot to note in the beginning of the video, I want to try and work, like, I'm going to put stuff on the screen, so for anybody that's just listening right now, I'm going to start placing things, like, immediately, not right now, but over the course of this video, I'm going to try and start placing things in the video as practice for when we get to building the master courses and making, like, as I'm speaking to kind of leveling up the channel. When I get to the point where I want to start making master course videos wherein I'm improving the channel itself and making videos with visual stimulus, I'm going to start practicing for that now and from here on out. So there might be things on the screen, like, for example, I want to make use of emojis where I can, because, I mean, I think that I feel like I'm not really exceptionally talented at expressing my feelings to people. Like, I spent a great span of my life in isolation, and I'm not sure that I can get my emotions across to people and express my feelings appropriately in many cases. And so I love emojis. I think, honestly, proper use of the emoji character set, the smiley heads that we have available on the internet, can concretely distinguish texting even as being a distinct and exceptionally efficient measure of communication. Like, it doesn't have to be, like Sweetie Cheek says, a lot doesn't get across in that. I think that you can actually implement it in such a way as to get everything across even better than you would in person, because it's written out in front of you. If you make proper use of these smiley heads, these emojis, I think that you can even go ahead and impress such things as sarcasm via text. And I'm going to start practicing that, and I'm going to, obviously, for people engaged with the initiative and whatnot, I'm going to start trying to teach you guys how I'm doing that, bring you along with me. As I stated earlier, I may be the vanguard here. I may be trying to teach a lot of you guys what I have to offer, but I'm not. I am evolving along with you. We're moving along together. As I stated, there's a lot of people way behind, but we're trying to just pick. All they have to do is take it into consideration and actually make use of the values we offer, and they'll get right up to the bar here, and we can move ahead together. And that's all we need to do, is get everybody on the same page and moving forward together. Now, once you start working on that list that you've got, you're gonna start detracting things, and you're gonna, the list is going to shorten down to very basic premises, or very basic, what will eventually amount to fundamental values in the system of your persona. Like, for example, I started making lists a little while back. I didn't really make lists initially, but I started doing that just for funsies, and I mean, this would be an example of one of my lists. So, there you go. I mean, it gets very simple. It's just very simple things that you can take into consideration, that you know for certain about who and what you are. And at that point, once you have the list, it might seem useless, it might seem pointless, but you're going to get rid of a lot of the useless junk values that you have in play. As you do this, you're going to be removing shit that you have stocked up in your psychological inventory that are just dragging you, that are weighing you down, pulling you back, distracting you. You're going to start finding these things, putting a spotlight on them, and that's all you have to do. Shine a light on these values. Once you see them happening, they will cease to have any influence upon you. They become little pieces of, like the toys in your toy box. They become little pieces of your clockwork that you can just remove at will. All you have to do is become aware of them. And that's just the thing, is that, ultimately we come down to, like, what we're doing here is this is an expedition toward the boundary. I'm trying to take you guys out there to the boundary, so that you can see it and understand it. That's where we need to get. You're going to have to break yourself down to scratch, just like I stated. When I placed the initial scratch maneuver video, I wasn't thinking that you guys a lot of you are going to need to be picked up to speed here. I was thinking that you would just get it, because it's been common sense to me and the rest of us for so long that we kind of discarded the steps along the path to get there. But ultimately you wind up with very simple principle, fundamental values of existence, such as, the most principle dynamics of existence is going to be, no matter where you go, it's here. And no matter what time it is, it's always going to be now. You can never get out of that. That is the only permanent fixture in play. You are here, it is now, and now plus here equals nowhere. And that's reaching the boundary, and that's seeing the writing on the wall, very, very intrinsically and literally speaking. You're seeing writing on the wall right there. Now plus here equals nowhere. That's a glaring indicator. That's a sign. A lot of people are going to say, well, as regards the etymology in play, like, well, these words are derived later on throughout our history. They're not reaching back to the origins. But again, we are viewing time in reverse. We're viewing comprehension in reverse. What exists now and going into the future, ultimately what exists at the point where we finish is the true reality. That's what actually happens. The rest of it is just the backstory. So where we see now plus here equals nowhere, that's the writing on the wall at the end of the route. We're seeing the sign that says this is where you're going. And I know it's for anybody who's really considering this honestly, it can be terrifying. It is terrifying. And the thing is that it might, as I said, it might seem useless to you right now, but this list is going to come into play later on, much later on. There's going to be a second part to this exercise that really makes effective use of it. For now, it's just a measure by which to clean up your, to clean out your your kind of your existential browser, as it will, but as you will, and as it were. But later on, there's going to be a use for these lists that is exceptionally effective, but we need to get there. That's going to be after we get through the chakra system, and then we'll make use of these lists. For right now, they're just useful in cleaning up your psychological inventory. And as regards coming down to those exact values, now plus here equals nowhere, these things might seem like, wow, it's a funny little kind of a, I don't know, a gimmicky thing, but I want you guys to be aware that these things exist now if you haven't actually experienced it yourself, because at some point throughout the course, if you practice this, if you follow along, you're going to run into points wherein these things become realized. And it can be, if you're not prepared for it, if you don't see it coming, it will be fucking shocking. And I mean shocking in the sense that it will damage you. It will hit you hard as fuck if you're not aware of it beforehand. So I'm just giving you guys a heads up here, and hoping that if you engage this exercise, you're going to be very, very well prepped. A hell of a lot more prepped than I ever thought I could have been at the time when I went through this shit. But this is what you're going to want to do in order to prepare for this course going into the future. Anyways, that's about it for this one. As I stated, the following video is going to be regarding evolution and atheism primarily. I'm not sure which is going to be the title head, or the headline title, but it's one or the other, and either way it's going to be particularly informative for the atheists. We really want you guys to tune in on that one, so if you're watching this, please do tune in and follow along. Love you guys, all of you, whether you hate me or not. Hey, do you like me? Do you dislike me? I don't give a shit. I love you guys anyways. I'm very happy that you're here. Thank you for attending. Kila Salai, Teviuni Siari, Namaste. Makes effective use of it. For now, it's just